Hey, what is up, everybody? It is Duff Designs. Today we are doing another course review. We're looking at Felton Lakes GC. This one is done by David Kraft or Stormhound. David Kraft on YouTube. He gave us a few specific details on the course. Want a pin set 3, back back tees, obviously. Wind speed, I think he said medium, and then direction southeast to southwest. So. Got all that set, everything else is default, and let's go ahead and hop straight in and see what we got. So, I have just released my rookie design course not too long ago, Featherwood CC. Very excited to see how that course ends up doing, and if any of you guys wanted to check it out, I did do a course review over that as well. It's one of my own courses. The final version is a little bit more updated as well, though, for the rookie contest. Alright, let's see what we got out here. So, as I said before, I'm on PC, and doing PC with these flight controls is very, very hard. So I can really only do stationary shots. Uh, Starting off, seems like got a cart barn, a little driving range over here, little practice green. Got some fairways we can see. Got a little house area back here. Let's fly over here a little bit. Not too bad. You never have to decorate these too much, considering they are off course. I know you said you're full on objects, and looking at your course, first glance, it's kind of hard to tell, but I think you just used too many types of buildings, maybe too many types of cars, probably too many types of plants. Your memory gets filled up based up off of types of objects, not amount of objects. So the more types of objects you place, the faster it's going to fill up. Guessing that was all spent on little decoration stuff like this. Yeah, you get a lot of different random objects down here. I mean, it's nice for decoration, but as I said, it fills up your memory fast, which you said was an issue yourself. Seems like we have some smaller greens out here. I think these are the default tee boxes, if I looking at them correctly. Yeah, I'm assuming those are all default tee boxes. I can't really tell though, honestly. It's so hard to tell in this game. But I think that is default tee boxes that you just flattened out. One of your biggest friends in this game is going to be the flatten tool. A lot of times before I even start laying anything down on a hole, I flatten the entirety of the entire hole. Entirety of the tire. But I flatten everything basically. And it keeps a lot of these weird little edges, like you see how you've got this right here. This happens sometimes when you place a fairway, and it happens because you haven't already flattened this area. When you flatten the area, it won't give you these weird drop-offs like this that you then have to come in here and meticulously fix, which is very annoying. And it also, just flattening this area probably, because this is such a weird little water catch area. It's almost like casual water in a way. Little duck though. Yeah, that duck also in itself is that's another little, that's one more percent of your memory right there. All right, enough looking at the course. Let's get down and play it. Hit the escape button. All right, I do like all these little walkways and decorations you've done between the holes. Uh, I would have kept in mind though is there's really nowhere for this. Like if I'm walking this course, there's really nowhere for me to walk once I get down to there. I guess I have to walk all the way around here. It's also nice when you do cart path, just do a quick once over with the flat tool and flatten the cart path. Um, you can watch my sloping video on to figure out how to do cart path slopes. That's very easy. but it can make your cart paths really, really pop. All right, first shot. Haven't swung in about a week, but it's in the fairway anyway. We always like a little hidden green. Uh, I would try to work these bunkers a little bit more, and you just got a lot of very large and jagged slopes everywhere. And the green has got way too much little movement in it. You see all these little tiny slopes everywhere. You just need to flatten this green and rework it. The front part right here is not too bad. You got some smooth slopes. And it seems like it drops off right where you put the pin. A good test when you're playing your courses is you don't always want to have blind shots. Blind shots are nice to have every now and again, but generally they're best avoided. You might want to have one blind shot on a course. I mean that might be your one blind shot right there, but a lot of the times newer designers do end up putting a lot of blind shots just because it's easier for them. I would definitely also just make your greens bigger. Like I would say 2 times this size. These greens need to be, and again, just a little bit too sharp of a slope. Slopes like this in this game can be extremely frustrating for players if they end up anywhere along this bottom edge. It can be almost impossible to chip back up. And yeah, just a bigger green here. It's the main thing that is needed.
Well, you didn't hit that super clean.
Oh, almost back on the tee box.
We'll be on the greens soon enough. Just in the green.
Yeah, and this little slope right here isn't really needed. You don't really need a tier here, considering how tiny this green is already. It could just be one big flat green. That's really all you'd need.
Okay, for the save. Oh my goodness.
Get that one on in there.
Next hole coming up. We got a left to right breeze on this hole.
Actually, I like the look of this tee shot. I really do. I think if you take this cart path out, I don't think the cart path needs to be right here. I would like to see some grassy hills right here, but I like the way how this fairway kind of fills in this little void up here. Don't really like the bunkers though. They're completely blind from the tee, and it is a choke point as well. You always want to have your bunkers 90% of your bunkers or more need to be visible from the tee. That's a humongous thing in this game now, is having your fairways, your bunkers, hazards, out of bounds, everything pretty much needs to be visible from shots, unless it's a punishing shot. Like if you hit it in an area you're not supposed to be, type stuff.
Okay, from the green side rough.
Like this green right here looked nice from the fairway because I could see the whole green, I could see all your bunkers, I could see the lake. It basically it shows players everything that you've spent your time on. You don't want to have some bunkers that you spent a bunch of time on, or fairway you spent a bunch of time on, and then not have it be visible from the tee.
Just one over at the moment.
Because those tee views like this is a great tee view right here. This is probably one of your nicest holes on the course. I do really like this one. As I already said earlier, I think your greens just need to be a little bit bigger. Would be very nice. Like this one doesn't need to be too much bigger, but it needs to have a lot more landing area over here. Like my cursor kind of, that's kind of how your green needs to be. And this probably needs to be a little bit wider. You don't really need this bunker back here like this. Especially with how tight this area already is. You want to have fairly big landing areas for your players coming into greens. Unless it's specific shots, you don't want every hole to be difficult. Like, you have to land it in a yard gap or a 2-yard gap to actually get it on the green properly. And it also makes it really hard for players to actually get up and downs, like from places where I was right there. Can't get this one on the green, can we? Ooh. Almost had it.
And that'll leave you at 3 over for the day. We've got a headwind blowing in our
I
faces.
like the idea of this hole right here. I'd say this is close to being good. Very, very close to being good. I like the look of it. I like the idea of it. It's just some of these little hills, like you don't really need this hill right here. Make this fairway a little bit smoother. Kind of make that edge smoother. Get rid of this rock, obviously, and this grass. You don't need any of this grass and rock down here. And it's kind of awkward how your rough kind of just runs into the fairway and forgets about all this up here. You need to fill that all in. Yeah, a lot of this game is a lot of just meticulous stuff that you gotta learn and do. It's a lot of work. It really is. It's taken me years to figure out all this stuff on my own. And it's nice now that there's a big community out there that you can actually go to and figure out how to learn stuff. Not just me, there's a lot of other designers out there, which I'm sure a lot of other people watched before me.
Nice shot into this green.
But there's a lot of content out there. There's a lot of things you can learn now.
2 over par.
I I hadn't been involved in the community for my first 6 years of designing. It wasn't until this past, I think like April, that I actually figured out about the TGC tours and all that type of stuff. There's a lot of stuff you can do. There's a lot of help out there for you. This one, I think I see which, I honestly can't, I think that's on purpose, but it's really hard to tell, honestly. These little jolt ends like this. I think it is on purpose. But honestly, there isn't really a need for this, especially with them being so small like this, and you haven't seen anything like this. Maybe if they were a larger, more detailed feature in your fairway, it would make more sense. Other than that, just a little bit of smoothing with your fairway. Obviously, I can see a little bit of heavy rough just kind of sitting right here in the fairway. Clearing your objects with the object clear tool, getting rid of all these objects kind of right along the edge and kind of in your hole. Like a lot of these rocks and grasses, you just don't need. You don't need them out here. Oop,
Something went amiss.
a little bit in the rough.
Okay, we're in the rough. It's better than I
Again,
thought.
as I said earlier with the visibility thing, you might be able to see more from actually in the fairway. That may not be a fair assessment on this hole, honestly. But just make sure everything's visible all the time. Oh, a little cart path roll. Not
Yeah,
too
sure.
shabby.
Just hit off the cart path.
Uh, Typically these big drop downs aren't a good idea. Like this. This is just a little too severe. I think this just not as severe would be good here. Maybe instead of having it go from 4 feet all the way down to 11 feet, that's a 7 foot drop. Maybe have it be a 3 foot drop. That would be great there. And this is a great sized green here. I really like the size of this green. You just don't need this much red. You really want to avoid as much red as you can in this new game. 2K23 is very particular with how fast the greens are now. Everything just rolls so much further. So you want to avoid red slopes anywhere. Usually in the center of your green, you want to kind of use yellow and orange as much as you can. And then again, don't use a lot of it. You want to have your slopes be in specific areas for specific reasons. You don't want to have red slopes or orange slopes or yellow slopes all over your green. That's going to make it unplayable for most players. So the new meta nowadays is, for the most part, to go with basically flat greens with a lot of small movement and maybe one or two larger hills in your green. Maybe one tier on your green. Maybe have 2 tiers. You can't be doing a lot of movement nowadays. Like you can see here, as I was just saying, this is all yellow and orange. This is all orange. There's just way too much percentage of this green that is orange and yellow. You got one pin down here, one pin here, and one pin here. And think about how hard this pin is to chip up to or putt up to if you miss over here, or even in this sand bunker back here. It's almost impossible. So a lot of this, just use your flatten tool a lot. Just come out here with your flatten tool, go ham. I'm talking about just flatten everything. Doesn't need to be perfectly flat. You can have some elevation drops, like some slopes. As I said, my sloping video, great video for you to watch, I think. There's slopes are very easy to do once you get them right, and it makes it very, very rewarding. You can have some very nicely sloped greens, very nicely sloped fairways, and it gets rid of a lot of these jagged edges like you've got out here. Not trying to sound pushy or anything. I'm just trying to help, you know.
Wind's blowing out there, right to left.
I like this hole. I really do like this fairway. I like the humpback of it. I would have knocked this down a little bit to bring this bunker into visual. I don't think this one really has to be visual. This one over here. I think this one's fine, actually. I just think, see this little hill right here? You knock down this hill, you can see this bunker. Plain as day from the tee. And I would really like it if the players played to right here. This would be a great spot to have your players play to, because if you miss over here, you're getting kicked off or into the sand. Or if you miss this way, you're into the sand. But with a driver here, I'm just flying all of it. I mean, I guess it is a little dangerous because it is a downslope fairway, so I'm going to have to land kind of right here.
Nice.
I don't know.
Some solid contact.
Not a bad hole. I like it.
And from the fairway bunker.
Got a giant green. See, it's greens like this that are okay to have a lot more red and yellow. There still is a little bit too much in here, honestly. But this is, you can get away with a lot more red and yellow. Like, you can get away with these slopes. You could probably get away with that one. You could probably get away with this one, maybe a little smaller up here. It's just your internal slopes you want to have kind of be smoother and not really very aggressive. Get up there. Oh, that's going to be an awkward spot. That is not a safe shot category, John. By the way, if you guys didn't know, the announcer's name is John. Gotta love John. Let's see if we can get ourselves back down to some evening. I like the big fairway. I like the big tree. There just isn't a lot of room to land right here if I'm going to lay up, to be honest. Really isn't anywhere good to actually get the ball on this hole. And you could get it here, but it's still extremely risky. You could put it onto here, but it's also risky pushing it that way. And here is just a no-go. Unless the wind's at your back. I guess the green's got to be down there, right? Guessing it is. No? No, our green's over there. Dang. Confusing. So... I don't know, let's do that. Probably a bad idea. Very bad idea.
Won't do, will it? And setting up now in the deep rough.
I really don't mind this, to be honest. I think if you would have went with this as a theme, this would have been really cool to see. A lot of fairways with heavier slopes like this. That would have been a pretty cool thing to see on some of the other holes on this course, actually. I do think this one does suffer a little bit from it. As you see back here, you got some fairways running up the side of this hill. You do have some weird little drop-offs over here. But the rest of this fairway, I actually don't mind some of these slopes in here. These contours. Makes it very interesting. This is too much, though. This is just... Oh, wow. Holy. No, it's number 9, but come on, guys. We're gonna get to play with all the fairway contours.
Okay, nothing like being back on the fairway.
I do like the fairway contours. They may be a little bit too much, but I do like them, honestly. Even if they are too much, I like the way that they kind of look.
Let's get a little kick left here.
Very interesting.
Good luck with this 15-footer.
Ooh.
No, that was yeah, that was tough. Just wound up short. And you're teeing up on a par 4 for this one.
Yeah, you just need more fairway here. I think wall or lake to lake fairway here would have been nice. Especially like you don't need thin fairway for the guys gonna lay up. If they're laying up, you need to have big areas for them to lay up because then it's just not worth it to lay up. They're gonna always go for it. There's no reason to ever lay up. Even this for a layup zone's tiny. Yeah, no chance.
Yeah, be nice to have that one back. And just in the first cut on this one.
Green is a little small again.
Oh boy, this one's heading for the sand. Fingers crossed for a nice.
Do you like to look at the houses and stuff in the background? That's very nice. The houses and the fencing and stuff. The shadow of the blimp coming around.
Shot.
Your exterior decorations I definitely do like.
Currently sitting at 3 over par. Careful out there. We got a tailwind blowing.
Like this is something that you'd see a like a moderately experienced designer doing something like this. This is good quality. I like this. As I said, maybe just a couple trees kind of planted around, maybe a couple bushes. I know you said you ran out of memory, but just a little thing to keep in mind in the future. Ooh. See, I like this idea again with this, but I think this fairway needs to be like twice as big. If you're gonna have contours like this, the fairway needs to be big, like very big. I think number 9 as well would benefit from having a very big fairway.
Second shot here on the 11th.
Yeah, contours are a little bit too big. Like this is a 6 foot. This has got to be 6 foot right here. I guess my lady's only 5 foot, but that's a big slope right in the middle of the fairway. Just having those be a little smaller, but I really like the idea of them. This green right here too. I like this green. It is very close to being very nice, but there's just a few too many orange slopes and yellow slopes in here. You need to have a little bit more flat areas on this green. Just because when I miss a green somewhere, coming back to this pin from anywhere on this whole entire left side is going to be almost impossible. I'm going to end up down here again. I'm going to be going for par down here. But otherwise, I do like the idea of the green here. It's just a little bit flatter. Ooh, we're about to see what actually can happen from up here.
This is what our third shot's looking like.
Let's see what happens if we throw it on top of this hill. It's as slow as I could. Yeah, not too bad actually.
That'll work just nicely. 6 feet.
Yeah, I just would have liked to see this whole area kind of be a little flatter up here. Maybe this be a little bit decreased. Instead of being orange, maybe just have it be yellow.
Okay, 3 over par for you.
And we got another blind shot pretty much right here. Just knock down this hill a couple feet. Use your raise tool. Get a big raise. Like cover this entire area back here. All of this needs to come down probably 10, 15 feet right here. And again, we need some larger fairways. I like the contours again. We just need some larger fairways to mesh with these contours because it's just so inconsistent. If I'm landing, trying to pick this area, I could bounce here and just go this way, or I could bounce here and go this way. Like, it's just, there's way too many big slopes for how small the fairways are. And then we got this, which is almost unthinkable to hit at for a player. Even if they have wind at their back, that's pretty crazy.
No good.
Bunker also, you see you get this big raise in your bunker. You want to try to avoid these the best you can. I know bunkers are really hard to work with, especially for new designers. But just taking your flatten tool in here and just flattening this bunker. A lot of times, if you flatten the spot where you're going to put your bunker before you put the bunker down, it is actually best. Again, I like the size of the green. I like the idea of having a big left to right green like this, but I think the slopes are a little bit too much. You got just way too much of the green is red and orange and yellow. Oh,
Heading to the rough.
that's more than the rough, John.
What can you do about it? Nothing.
Realize that bunker slope was gonna mess with my feet so much.
Through some branchy stuff here.
Oh, all that left to right movement on that green and I don't get put down all the way down at the bottom. That's crazy.
Ooh, nice putt overall. That was a good one. And sitting at 5 over par for the day.
5 over.
Heads up, wind's going right to left.
Yeah, and a lot of this is just unfair to the player, honestly. Like having a pin right here this close to the edge is just unfair. A lot of those slopes and hills in the last holes that we've been looking at have just been unfair to the player. It's just stuff you want to like try to avoid the best you can.
Beautiful swing. Okay.
All right, not a bad shot.
Here we go. This one for birdie.
Knock her into the hole.
Oh, that was almost.
I didn't move at all.
All right, let's head to the next.
I'm gonna try to speed it up a little bit.
On hole number 14.
These last few holes. Got somewhere I gotta be kinda soon. Again, just make that one bunker back there a little bit more visual to the player.
Oh,
Ooh.
this one's taking a turn.
A little bit into the tree.
Let's get out of this. This is a little spinach.
Lowering this fairway to make the green visible would be very nice. Again, just flattening a lot of this stuff.
After this one.
It's just kind of needed.
Still in the rough, but we're making
Your whole course just kind of needs a once-over with the flatten tool.
All right, you're on the green, miles away from
Big
the
slopes, they're okay to have. But these are just too big and too many.
This one's 7 feet away. Looking good.
Dang.
Just a little too much power.
Missed that one.
This one's for the Bogue. Nicely played. Let's see what happens on the 15th.
Which is, it's been hard for me to adjust to the new game too, because stuff like this actually probably would have been not okay, but a lot more acceptable in the old games. But in this new game, with how all the new greens are, it's almost impossible to think about playing a course like this with these greens
Setting up in the green
being as
side.
slopey as they are. Like, I just have no option when I'm up above this pin because of how big that slope is, and it feeds into another downward slope into a bunker. Just stuff like that, it's just unfair to the player. Doesn't give them a chance at getting a par.
Over at the moment.
But you don't always want to give them a chance at getting a par, but
Breeze on this hole.
when I miss a green here, or even if I hit a green here, I may not even get a chance at getting a par because there's just too big of slopes in between me and the hole. I mean, you could argue course knowledge or whatever, but there's just too much going on here.
See what you got.
There's too many slopes all over the place here. As I said, you just need to have a few spots in your green that you select as like, all right, this is where I'm going to have a major slope, and I'm going to have a major slope here. Everything else kind of needs to be smaller green slopes. You're in a spot over here. And we're back in the water.
Oh, into the water.
Oh, I'll drop on a green.
Okay, this is your 6th shot on this one. This putt's about 6 feet. This one's tracking. There we go. All right, stepping up to a par 4 here.
Again, making your fairway visible to the player, lowering everything right here.
Looks like this
Underpowered
one
that.
should be in the fairway.
I actually like this fairway.
And 200 yards or so.
I really do like this fairway. This is a good fairway. Other than this little spot right here. See how it's got this massive drop off right here. And this is just a little bit too slopey right here. Other than those two things, the entirety of this fairway is actually pretty nice. I like the shaping of it, the look of it. I like it. But it is kind of jarring to go from those fairways that you had on the other holes that are extremely slopey and those big hills to these really long, flat fairways.
On the approach here. This is our third shot.
Damn, I have not even been noticing with how, or I have not even been paying attention with how the wind helps with the holes. I've just been too focused on the slopes and the craziness.
All right, give this one a little tap.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, let's tap this one on in and move on our way.
Which I know you said this is your second course in the 2K23 series. I'm curious if you've designed courses before, because this is very reminiscent of like early TGC courses in the Golf Club and the Golf Club 2 and Golf Club 2019.
Got some good contact on that one. Fetched up in the branches here. Well done. All right, good luck with your second shot here on the 18th hole. Okay, here's our
Green
third
here.
shot.
Just a little too slopey. I mean, you can tell you got tiers all over the place, but this is what I was saying earlier. You kind of want one or two tiers. When you have too many tiers, you get so many slopes all over the place that it just becomes chaotic most of the time.
Here we go, birdie putt coming up. And the
Oh,
putt
what a
drops,
putt.
and we're done here.
Oh,
And
that
as
was
this one
18.
comes to an end, that's 11 over.
Well, overall, honestly,
And with that,
you just need to use the flatten tool a lot more. I think
playing
some of those fairways that we saw, I think 17 was one of them. Oh, that might have been 18. It was the one with the long, smooth, flowing fairway. I really enjoyed that fairway. I think that fairway, all over the course, I think that'll get you far having stuff like that. I actually really enjoyed the movement of that. In terms of your bunkers and stuff, you want to have your bunkers visible, your fairways visible, your greens visible. You you might want to have one, maybe two blind shots in your course. You want to avoid them for as much as you can. Uh, and as I said with your greens, they just got to be flatter. I mean, as I've said it a lot, they just have to be. It's just this new game requires it. As much as it does suck, because it is easier to do greens like that, and there's a lot more enjoyable sometimes to play them. You can't even enjoy them in this game anymore. Like that's just it's so sad, honestly. A lot of older courses just aren't playable in this game anymore because of how the green slopes are. They have to be slowed down to like their slowest speeds to be playable. But other than that, the course is nice. I do think you have a lot of potential. I really liked your decorating. Decorating, I think, was your strongest point on your entire course. Uh, I think that's pretty much it. Uh, Thanks for watching, guys. If you made it this far, I'm still doing more reviews, so just drop a comment down below if you want your course reviewed and looked over. I try to stay as impartial as I can in these things. Obviously, a lot of this is it's just if you have your own bias. Like I have my own bias towards what I like, and a lot of people have their own bias towards what they like. So take everything I say in these with a grain of salt in terms of like uh like decorations and stuff. Some things people like, some things people don't. I mean, oh man, that's I'm going on a little bit of a rant here, but don't let stuff get too under your skin. Basically, is what I'm saying as a designer. We all will hear things when our courses are designed that some people just won't like them. I've had courses that I've been very proud of that people just don't like. It happens sometimes, and you're gonna get it in the future. Just go forth with the head of steam, keep making courses, keep grinding it out, and you'll go far. Bye, guys.